Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and entities of uncertain classification. This is Wing Commander Montgomery Fortescue speaking. I'm addressing you from the secure briefing room, or as the professor calls it, my own personal chaos corner. Now, today's subject takes us far afield to the misted mountains and cherry blossom valleys of southern Japan circa 1987. It's one of Professor Simon de Montfort's lesser known escapades, though I dare say it deserves a good deal more attention. This one, cadets, this one's about revenge, nature, and a very upset tree. You see, the Japanese government's paranormal division, splendidly efficient people, always polite even when being eaten, called in our dear professor when a small village began falling apart at the seams. Livestock were dying, women were miscarrying, the water was poisoned though no toxin could be found. The air was thick with grief and guilt, and they called it a modern curse. But as most things involving Professor de Montfort, the truth was considerably older and considerably angrier. He wrote, and I quote, "The village lies beneath a pall of unease. Its very soil lies restless, yet their suffering shares a single thread, the cutting down of a sacred grove." Ah, yes, the grove, a stand of ancient cherry trees that had stood for centuries, tended and whispered to by generations. Then, of course, along came the developers. One might imagine, cadets, that bulldozers are the natural enemy of the divine, and one would be entirely correct. When Professor de Montfort arrived, he could feel it before he saw it, the residue of something sacred torn apart. He described the remains as gravestones jutting from a wound in the earth, and that night, under a thin, disinterested moon, he performed what he rather understandably called a small ritual to awaken what Kodama remained. Now, for those of you who were asleep during your Cryptid Studies module, a Kodama is a tree spirit, a guardian of the forest, a custodian of balance. You cut down its home and you don't just fell timber, you commit an act of desecration. They're said to live as long as the tree lives, sometimes longer, and when their tree is destroyed, well, they don't go quietly. The professor said it didn't take long for the Kodama to appear, an ephemeral form flickering like moonlight through mist, he wrote. It wept. Cadets, it spoke, with a voice like wind through hollow wood, lamenting that its family, the other trees, had been slaughtered. And here's the thing that truly unnerved him. It didn't ask for help, it didn't beg forgiveness, it merely said, "They have desecrated my sacred land, all my kin are gone." And then it simply vanished back into the fog. Now, the professor was and remains a rationalist. He doesn't scare easily, but he told me once that the air itself mourned in this place, Monty. So he did what any good English academic does when faced with divine retribution. He lied to their government. When the paranormal division asked if there was a supernatural cause, he said no. He told them that it was coincidence, bad luck, and groundwater contamination. Why? Because he knew what would happen otherwise. The government would try to fix it, and in trying, they'd kill it. So you see, detective, it wasn't vengeance, it was about bringing a balance. The villagers destroyed something sacred in the world, and the world, being a stubbornly fair place, simply balanced the books. The professor believed that to restore harmony, they'd have to restore the grove, plant new trees, offer reverence. He left them with that choice, and if they didn't take it, well, nature's patient. She is very patient. She can wait centuries. Now, between us, and do keep this off the official record, there's an odd footnote. When the professor left Japan, a government aide reported seeing a single cherry blossom tree in the ruined grove blooming out of season. No one planted it, no one watered it, but it grew nonetheless. Some said it was a sign of forgiveness. The professor said it was the Kodama watching, waiting for the humans to make up their minds. Right, cadets, let's pull this together. Lesson 1, never desecrate a sacred place. Lesson 2, when the land bites back, it doesn't roar, it mourns. And lesson 3, if you ever find yourself in southern Japan and the trees whisper your name, apologise immediately, preferably with sake. Now, before we close, a few notes from Professor de Montfort himself. He's written that the Kodama case remains one of the most difficult morally. He sided with the unseen over the living, and while some might call that cruel, others might call it, in this case, necessary. As he once said to me, "My loyalty, Monty, is to balance and not to sentiment." And in the supernatural world, that's rather the same as saying my loyalty is to gravity. The Kodama thanked him in the end, a faint gratitude like the sight of wind through spring blossoms, and perhaps that's enough, because sometimes, cadets, the best outcome well, it isn't victory, it's survival. And part of it, I suppose, understanding when not to interfere. I think that's it. Any questions or comments? Could you put them in the thingy jobbles below? Thank you. Good luck.